Picture this. You're cruising through the Canadian prairies, expecting nothing but wheat fields and grain silos, when suddenly you spot a massive Starship Enterprise looming by the highway. No, you haven't stumbled into a sci-fi wormhole. You've just arrived in a town called Vulcan. Yes, Vulcan as in Mr. Spock's home planet. This tiny Alberta town shares its name with Star Trek's famous planet completely by accident, but it's turned that coincidence into something truly special. Think Starfleet themed street signs, a spaceship shaped visitor centre, even locals proudly wearing pointy Vulcan ears during festivals. How on earth did this farming community become the Star Trek capital of Canada? And what happened when Mr. Spock himself finally paid a visit? Stick around because this story is full of surprises that'll fascinate any Star Trek fan. Hey there, and welcome back to Trek Trivia on Hailing Frequencies. Recently, I had quite a blast breaking down the Season 3 episode titles of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, looking for hidden clues and Easter eggs. If you've joined me for that deep dive, I'm so glad to have you back. And if not, you might want to check it out after this. It's a must watch for any Star Trek fan itching for hints of what's coming. Today, though, I'm shifting from the final frontier to a very real place here on Earth. A place that proves truth can be stranger and more wonderful than fiction. I'm talking about the town of Vulcan, Alberta. It's a tiny farming community that took its accidental Star Trek connection and ran with it at warp speed. The result? A full-blown Star Trek destination that's equal parts quirky and heartwarming. I love this story because it's not just fun trivia. It's a testament to how fandom can bring people together and even reinvent an entire town's identity. By the end of this video, you might just find yourself smiling, or perhaps even tearing up, at how Star Trek touched the lives of the people in Vulcan. So pour yourself a Ractigino or an Earl Grey, hot of course, and get ready to beam down to this one-of-a-kind town to explore its journey to becoming a real-life Star Trek haven. And in case you're wondering, no, Vulcan wasn't originally named for Spock's planet. This small Alberta town actually got its name from a 1913 railway survivor who chose Vulcan after the Roman god of fire. For decades, it was just a quiet farming community on the prairie. That is, of course, until Star Trek came along. Once Star Trek premiered in the 1960s, Vulcan suddenly shared a name with an alien world. By the 1970s, sci-fi fans driving through Alberta would detour to snap photos with the "Welcome to Vulcan" sign, just to say they'd been to Vulcan, at least the one on Earth. At first, the locals weren't quite sure what to make of these Trekkie pilgrims. But by the late 1980s, the town was looking for ways to boost tourism, and the Star Trek angle was too fun to ignore. Community leaders and fans banded together to give Vulcan a sci-fi makeover. In 1993, they held the first Vul-Con fan convention, a huge success. Next, they added permanent attractions. In 1995, Vulcan unveiled a giant replica of the USS Enterprise at the town's entrance, and by 1998, they'd opened the Vulcan Tourism and Trek Station, a visitor centre built to look like a landed spaceship, complete with the Star Trek Museum and gift shop inside. The whole town started to lean into its new identity. Vulcan streets got Starfleet-themed banners and murals of the Enterprise crew. A transporter pad appeared on the sidewalk for fun photo ops, and even local businesses adopted playful names like Starfleet Supplies and Quark's Consignment. Each summer, the town throws a Spock Day festival with a parade in your spot, plenty of ears and Starfleet uniforms. And of course, every July they host Vulcan, where fans from all over gather and Star Trek actors sometimes beam in as special guests. All these efforts put Vulcan on the map for Trekkies worldwide. But the biggest moment came in 2010. That year, none other than Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock himself, visited Vulcan. He'd heard about the town's devotion. I mean, they even campaigned to host the 2009 Star Trek movie premiere and decided that he had to see it firsthand. The town pulled out all the stops. They organised a parade in his honour. The mayor wore Vulcan ears, and hundreds of fans lined the streets in Starfleet attire to welcome him. Nimoy was deeply moved.
I think the Spock character has been a role model for a lot of young people, middle-aged people, elderly people like myself. A character of dignity, intelligence, professionalism. I'm very proud to be associated with it. In all of these experiences, I have never had an experience quite as touching as I'm having here today, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
During the festivities, Nimoy pressed his hand, forming the Vulcan salute, into wet cement, leaving a permanent handprint, and he unveiled a bronze bust of Spock that still stands on Main Street. Locals called it their Holy Grail moment. Nimoy's visit truly cemented, literally and figuratively, Vulcan's status as the Star Trek capital. To this day, visitors can place their hand in Nimoy's print and feel a connection to that special event and that special man. What started as a simple name coincidence turned into a point of pride for Vulcan. By embracing Star Trek, the town gained worldwide attention and a special place in sci-fi fandom. It's a feel-good tale of community and fandom coming together and proof that Vulcan has, quite fittingly, lived long and prospered. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Trek Trivia. If you enjoyed this adventure in Vulcan, Alberta, please hit that like button. It really helps Hailing Frequencies reach more Star Trek fans. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Would you take a trip to Vulcan to see these Star Trek sites for yourself? Do you have a favourite example of sci-fi coming to life in the real world? Let me know in the comments below. I promise you I read every single one. And if you're new here, welcome, and please subscribe to Hailing Frequencies for more Trek trivia and science fiction fun. We dive into Star Trek lore, fan culture, and so much more on this channel, so you really don't want to miss out. I have plenty more fascinating Star Trek stories and fan-fueled adventures coming up, and I'd love to have you on board for the next journey. Until next time, thanks again for watching, and as always, I'm Stu Jackson, and this has been your weekly wave of Trek Trivia.